Hi, this is Lori D, and welcome to my channel. And this is a series that I'm going to call I Am Your Friend, where I just kind of ran into the camera like, I am your friend, and I apologize for the verticalness of this. Once my channel gets set up and it's more 24, there's like a 24-hour wait period where I can go live. I'll just go ahead and go live with these. But for now, I gotta do it on the iPhone, so that's the way it is. And I do want this channel to be primarily all about karaoke videos, but even that makes me think deeply. So the I Am Your Friend segments are when I get into deep thought and I talk on and on about all the insights that I had while I were making all those videos. And I did have a lot of insights about that, especially with my dad harping on the entertainment aspect, and I totally agree with him about that the focus should definitely be on entertainment and not on inflating. It's not about you when you put yourself out there. It's about your audience. And being an entertainer, when you step into the world of entertaining, that's a little hard because in order to truly entertain, you can't be perfect. You have to be okay with being a little flawed, because perfection just isn't very entertaining. So I chose videos, the ones I uploaded, they're not perfect, but I did that on purpose because it's more entertaining that way. It's more entertaining when you accept the imperfection and you just upload it that way. So yeah, I probably could go all out and make it all perfect and everything, but that wouldn't be as entertaining. I liked it when my dad interrupted me in the middle of the video and I go, oh, that's kind of cool, because if you really wanted to see the song, you would just watch the song. You wouldn't watch my version of it. You want to be entertained. So it's not about me. It's about stepping into that category where it's more about the people watching me, or your entertainers. When they're entertaining, it's not about them, it's about their audience. So that's a very hard thing to cross over, and I know from being an improv comedian how hard it is to get over the fact, because you can't play to the joke. You're not supposed to play for a joke. You don't make fun of people. You just get to the point where you are actually entertaining, and you're not making fun of anybody. You're literally just playing to the scene and accepting all the imperfections that come with an improvised scene and going with it. And it is kind of hard on you because when people are laughing at you unintentionally, it takes a lot inside of you to get over that. Because if you are an entertainer, you want to bring people joy, all right? You don't want to, and the part of that is bringing about laughter, letting people have a good time, and just trying to be the light of the party, whatever it is. And that takes a lot to get over, because it kind of feels like people are laughing at you, and in the way they are, but it's not an insult. It's a compliment. It's a form of flattery, because you're not being tormented. You're being put on a pedestal. Not many people have that ability to truly entertain, and in the 80s and even before that, when there was people with true talent that could actually get up and entertain an audience, they were highly respected. They usually became late night show hosts. They could, they could start talking for 3 hours and they can be truly entertaining. that's an amazing gift, to be truly entertaining, like Johnny Carson. You know, lots of people laughed at Johnny Carson. Was that an insult? No, it wasn't. He was just truly entertaining. So it's very hard for like people who haven't gone through the mill or whatnot to get over that hump to where you're secure enough to yourself with yourself, where A, it's just not all about you anymore, and it's more about your crowd, and B, you can you are able to, you know, be an entertainer. You know, you're able to have the spotlight on you, and you can bring joy to crowds without humiliating yourself, or trying to humiliate yourself or embarrass yourself or embarrass somebody else. It's strong. It's very hard to get over it. And you know, I thought I wanted, to be in the comedy world in Chicago, but I thought wrong. It really is like very tormenting, because there are so many people that go into comedy that you really just want to be able to make fun of people all the time, and they're very insecure on the inside. They're not comfortable with people laughing at them. They're not able to take it. They just want to dish it out. They're not able to you know, they're not able to take anything. Like, you can even they just want to, you know, they want to be the class clown. I'm going to say it that way. The class clown makes people laugh by, you know, making fun of people, by, you know, finding someone to pick on. And that's when I was growing up, that wasn't even called comedy. That was called being a bully, you know. And now that's what everybody's doing. They're just trying to find somebody to make fun of, you know, or torment, or whatnot. And then when they do find somebody that's truly entertaining, like my dad, they're like, sometimes I see these comments like, oh, they're just laughing at him. I go, but it's a compliment, you know, because he's entertaining people, you know, and he knows what he's doing. Obviously, he wouldn't have as many subscribers as he did. No one's, this is not the kid in the class that's picked on, you know. This is the star of the room. This is a legend, you know. This is the person who really truly knows how to bring light into your day, and cheer you up, and bring joy to your life for your 3 minutes that you're, you know, waiting in line or whatnot. So and that's kind of different, like with YouTube too, is because you gotta understand, this is not date content. People aren't going out on dates here. Well, maybe they are, you know, but I guess that would be like a non-date, you know. People aren't getting dressed up to watch YouTube. They're not putting on tuxedos. They're not putting on cocktail dresses to watch YouTube. You know, they're not looking for that that high-class experience, or that perfect experience, you know what I mean? They're looking for entertainment, you know. So you gotta be secure enough with yourself to not be perfect, because that's not what people are looking for. They're not looking for perfection. You gotta be okay with your flaws, and you gotta be okay with like being real. You know, you gotta be able to look into the camera and be a real person. And a real person is not perfect. You know, gotta be okay with that, because that's the kind of person that relates to their audience, you know. Someone who's very secure with themselves, and someone who is not afraid to be themselves, and is not afraid to show their personality. Like, if you're trying so hard to be perfect, you're not going to be entertaining. And there's like so many singers out there that just, they are perfect. They got perfect tune. They got a perfect, their beats are perfect and everything, and they even like professionally shot videos. and whatnot. And but the fact of the matter is, it's just not entertaining. Well, you know, I think there was like a viral video of that woman. She did do it all out, but her voice wasn't the greatest. And I think she thought it was like a birthday present. I forgot what her name was, but that one went viral because that was entertaining. And she was entertaining her audience. And you know, laughter's part of that. You know, you want to be able to make people laugh, and make people laugh by being entertaining, not by being a bully. You know, so we don't want to be a bully. We want to be entertaining. Like if you've watched like 90s sitcoms, I know the guy who played Steve Urkel on Family Matters was acting, but Steve Urkel, the character, was not, was just a very entertaining person, you know, and he was just being himself, you know, he was just being who he was, and who he was very entertaining. The same thing with Full House. They had Kimmy on there. And Kimmy was like a very entertaining. You know, she's just a very entertaining person. And during that decade, it was okay for people to be themselves. And for the most part, they were very annoying, but the straight person just isn't very funny. You know, they aren't very naturally funny. And people could be themselves, and they weren't tormented, they weren't bullied, and they weren't really picked on. I guess they were in a way, like it, but not so much in the 90s. It was actually true acceptance. People, you could just be, have an extreme personality, and or be a very entertaining person, and it was accepted, and people were your friends, and they accepted you the way they are. You were. They didn't try to change you. When they laughed, they weren't. It wasn't a form of torment. They weren't teasing anybody. I guess you could say the Winslows never made fun of Steve, but they were constantly entertained by him. Does that make sense? Right? Now, there may have been some people who weren't the Winslows, you know, that tormented Steve and called him a nerd or something like that, but we actually didn't see that in the show. I think we just saw Laura being very annoyed by him. That was, you know, that was the as far as it went with Steve Urkel. So it's like, or Screech, you know, Screech from Saved by the Bell. He was naturally a very entertaining man, you know, but he was in the group. He was hanging out with the cool kids, you know, and he was accepted into the Saved by the Bell clique. You know, he certainly was invited to go to everything. He was their friend. He was their buddy, you know. So that was totally acceptable. I mean, like, in the 90s, people really liked having entertaining people around them, and entertaining people were not afraid to be themselves. They weren't trying so hard to be normal and perfect. And you see what I'm saying? If you try so hard to be normal and perfect, then you are throwing away your own material. It's like you're running away from your own great material, you know? If you just accept yourself the way you are, then you are naturally so much more entertaining than you were before. And it's not an insult. You may be making people laugh, but that's not a demeaning thing. That's not, you know, the low end. That's the high end. It's a position of respect and admiration. It's not a position of insult be so secure with yourself that you can actually be an entertainer, and you can actually make content that relates to people and brings joy to their lives without making fun of people. And that's a very hard thing to do. I mean, I was like on comedy blogs, and then they said all comedy has an object of torment. I go, not necessarily. There's some people that are just naturally gifted at entertaining. And if they're secure enough with themselves where they can get up on the stage, or they can start entertaining and making blogs, or even making karaoke songs, that's a gift, you know, to be naturally not making this all about you. Usually, like when people like perform, they're making it's all about them, you know. Oh, it's all about my perfection. It's all about my ego. But no, when you're performing, it's not about you. It's about the people you're performing for. You know, it's about their joy. And to let a lot of people that have, you know, made it, you know, as pop singers, you know, or you know, written a very popular song, they figured that out. You know, this song is not just about me. This song resonates with the people I'm singing it to. They're able to relate to the people. They're able to sing with emotion, and it's not just you know, pitch perfect. They're not, you know, opera singers. Most pop singers aren't, but they have the ability to relate to their audience, and they have the ability to make people feel, or write something that resonates with somebody. People like these songs because it speaks to them. It's not just the songwriter's song, it's their song. It's a song that was playing in their car when they were on their first date, you know, or it was the song that was playing at their wedding, or it was the song when they were just, you know, hanging out with their friends when they were teenagers. So now it makes them feel like they're teenagers again, just hearing this song. The song just like, it's sort of like, you know, songs are kind of like links on a Google search. You know what I mean? Well, let me explain it. Okay. So, you know, you bring up, you know, bring up this idea, you know, and you put it in the search bar, like the song name, and all of a sudden this whole Google search comes up with all these different related topics. So that's how a song is like a Google search. Like you put it in the search bar, in your mind, the song starts playing, and then all of a sudden everything that is related to that song just starts coming up, you know, and all those memories. It just sparks your memory. It starts pulling out long-term memories that you've had, and it just sort of recreates this, and you start, you know, almost reliving all those experiences all over again. And it keeps going into all those different facets of where you heard that song, your friends that you knew when you were hanging out and listening to this song. Maybe you're at a dance club and you heard this song play, and you're looking across the room at this really hot guy, and you're imagining what it'd be like to dance with that hot guy. And then you hear the song and you start thinking about that. You start thinking about that hot guy again, which you haven't thought about in 20 years. You know, but yeah, it's like a Google search for the mind. So that's so I know, like, when I sing these songs, I start bringing up memories, and I even bring up memories for myself, especially with the Broadway songs. It brought up a bunch of memories for me to sing those songs of when I was a teenager, and just like being in my family home, and in the basement. I used to practice all the time in the basement, but I would do that in the middle of the night, and I would just imagine that I was in the musical. That was what I did for fun. I just totally imagined it, and I think I tried to recreate that for you. that's kind of like what I was going for, especially with the Phantom of the Opera one. Like, I wanted to recreate this vision I had, what the song sparked in my own memory of me being a teenager and just really living in the emotions and living in the moment and even dreaming about being a Broadway star. That notion I want to correct, though. You don't have to be a Broadway star to be in a musical, and you don't need to be a famous pop singer to enjoy music. You don't have to be any of those things. You just need to give yourself permission. And that's the most wonderful thing, is that when I was like a teenager, when I was 16, I gave myself permission to love the songs. And that was the amazing thing. And I so dreamed about, you know, being able to sing that well someday, and being able to sing it so perfectly, and to get to the appropriate training I needed to be able to, you know, be a Broadway star. But it's not even I would say that my dreams have failed, because my voice has developed, you know. I actually, if I wanted to, I could, you know. I have the ability to. It's just not what I'm going for, you know. I'm going for recreating those memories of, you know, because that's the amazing part. That's a dream, you know. To, you know, just transform your environment and transform your basement, and just, you know, step into the musical and sing these songs from your heart, and just step into the character of that part, and just become that character, and just feel all the emotions in the song that you're trying to sing, and you just imagine that you're in the Phantom of the Opera and you are Christine, you know, and then you're the other part, you know. I don't know, do teenage girls still do that? I know my friend group did. I wasn't the only one. Oh yeah. Oh, we all were practicing our songs. And we loved going to the Broadway shows in Chicago. Oh, it was such a big deal. It was a really big deal. Oh, I just, to be able to go to the show, actually see it, it was just such an amazing thing. And it's just so amazing how songs can bring so much happiness into people's lives, and just transform you into something else. So yeah, that's what I was going for with the Phantom of the Opera thing. And I was like, well, you know, I was, you know, choking up the notes here. And I go, well, I know this is very entertaining. You know, and then I sound like a teenage girl, you know, how I sounded when I was a teenager. And that's what I was going for, you know. I was going for that. So in my mind, it may not be perfect in your mind, but I was trying to recreate that vision, you know, that memory that I had. And even when I said that the light is shining, and then the light was right behind me, I go, oh, that's so cool. Like, how could I possibly even think about recreating that so perfectly? To even step in front of the light, and I'm singing both parts, you know what I mean? How could I possibly recreate that better than I did? And I know it's not Broadway style or Broadway quality, but I wasn't going for that. I was going for the way the song makes you feel, and the feelings I felt that were brought up inside my mind of me being a teenage girl and pretending I was in a musical. And the matchmaker came actually from my high school recital, and I do have that on tape somewhere. The Little Mermaid, I used to stay up in the middle of the night, and I've got this video. I put on a prom dress, and I was recreating it, and I was singing into there. And I sang that for several talent shows too. The Part of Your World. Les Mis, I was just obsessed with Les Mis, like everybody else was. Yeah, I loved it. I didn't love the show as much as I loved the actual CD. The show was kind of dark, but I loved seeing it. But I really loved the songs, and I loved singing them and the emotions. I love Miss Saigon too. Maybe I'll do some things for Miss Saigon. Saw Evita. I think I saw all of them. They have this when you're like a college student in Chicago, they don't have it anymore. It's like a lot more complicated because it's all online and you never get it, especially with Hamilton. But when I was in college in the late 90s, you could just show up to the theater, and you usually get a seat for $10. It's true. You just show up and show your college ID, and you'd be able to buy a ticket for $10. Because they wanted to make sure that the first 2 rows were always full, because it's much more psychologically healthy for the performers. But they don't want to sell those seats because they're really expensive seats. If they're not sold though, and it's right before the show, 10 minutes before the show starts, and they're not filled yet, they'll sell them those seats to college students for $10. I don't think they do that anymore, but during that period of time they did. So I saw every Broadway show that came through Chicago while I was going through Columbia College Chicago, in addition to working through a bunch of shows there. So that's the kind of memories that singing the songs spurred up in my mind. So I wanted to share them with you. And if you have listened to this whole rant, you're definitely my friend. So definitely like and subscribe, because I'd really like to get to know you better, and you must be a really cool person to sit here and listen to me rant for 30 minutes straight. And so, yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being my friend. So I want to be your friend too. Alrighty. Well, this is Lori D, and you have a great day.